and this madness continues, we will surely perish as a people.
And from the White House, the president called the ambush cowardly and reprehensible.
And we as a nation have to be loud and clear that nothing justifies violence against law enforcement. Attacks on police are an attack on all of us and the rule of law that makes society possible.
The attack happened in Baton Rouge, a city in the Deep South that has seen 2 weeks of angry demonstrations. These protests were triggered by an event that shocked America. 2 white officers tackling and then shooting dead Alton Sterling, a 37-year-old African-American selling CDs in a car park. Amid fears that racial tension is boiling over, some leaders are renewing their calls for calm.
We have some obligation to speak out now, to not allow this rage of violence to become a race war. It must not degenerate that way.
10 days after the police in Dallas were ambushed by a Black Power extremist, and now sheriffs in neighboring Louisiana are struggling to comprehend what happened and why.
Well, Robert is in Cleveland tonight, where the Republican convention begins in a few hours. Robert, there's still a great deal of mystery about this incident. What more do we know?
There's lots of confusion, James, not just about the nature of the ambush, but in particular the motive of the gunman. Even the race of Gavin Long, who apparently was 29 years old today, it was actually his birthday, is not at all clear. What we do know, though, is it's going to have significant political fallout. As you say, the Republican Party convention here in Cleveland begins tomorrow morning. Donald Trump has already tweeted out that, in his view, America is out of all control. And the theme in the morning of this convention is keep America safe again. And in reply to that sort of language, the president made crystal clear from the White House that political leaders in particular must try and unite and not further divide this country. As the president put it, everybody in this country must be part of the solution and not part of the problem.
Robert, thank you very much indeed. 6,000 people have been detained in Turkey after the unsuccessful attempt by some of the military to overthrow the president. President Erdogan himself today helped carry the coffins of the dead. At least 290 people died altogether. The president said he will consider reintroducing the death penalty for those behind the failed coup. Our Middle East correspondent, Gary Vincent, reports.
Omar Jankatar was shot dead on Friday night when he went out onto the streets to challenge the soldiers who were attempting a coup. While his young son wrapped his arms around his coffin, Omar's father tried to comfort him.
My son died for his country. He was standing up for justice. He was very brave. God knows this.
Omar was laid to rest with several others who died resisting the coup. President Erdogan was here to tell a packed mosque that the organs of the state had been infected with a virus that he would purge. The president says this man, Fethullah Gulen, a Turkish dissident who lives in America, was behind the coup attempt. From his Pennsylvania home, he has denied that, and the US says it is yet to see any evidence of his involvement. But the Turkish government has now arrested thousands of people who they believe to be his supporters.
There's sorrow at the funerals, of course, but the overwhelming mood here is one of celebration that the coup attempt failed. But there's also some unease that a victorious government might become yet more authoritarian.
It was the strategy of the Erdogan government to gather as much power as they could in their hands. They went against the press, they went against the judiciary, and indeed they went against the military. And now, of course, that tendency will almost certainly be reinforced by what has happened.
Last night, the squares of Turkey's biggest cities became venues for spontaneous festivals, marking a victory for democracy. President Erdogan won an election 2 years ago, and his party members angrily reject accusations of authoritarianism.
Friends of mine who were out on the street reported to me that quite a few people came up to them and said, "We didn't vote for AK Party. We won't vote for AK Party, but we are going to stand with you and defend this country." It wasn't a matter of politics that day. It wasn't a matter of AK Party. It was certainly not a matter of Erdogan. To reduce it to that is just insulting to the Turkish people, I think.
Turkey's government is now describing the coup attempt as part of a terrorist campaign, which the Turkish people defeated by showing a historic solidarity. But this is a country which is not at ease with itself, and there may be more tears and more blood shed before it is. Geraint Vincent, ITV News, Istanbul.
2 more people are being questioned by police in France in connection with Thursday's terror attack in Nice. 6 people are now in custody. Today, the victims were remembered in church services across the city. From there, our correspondent Emma Murphy reports.
In a time of such uncertainty, it was to the order and routine of religion that many in Nice turned today, in services that weighed heavy with loss and fear. A number of parishioners from the Russian Orthodox Cathedral were killed on Thursday, and they were remembered in the place where they used to pray. At the Anglican church, just a few streets from the attack, there were prayers for the dead and injured, as the health minister confirmed that many were still dangerously ill. Of the 85 people hospitalised, 29 are in intensive care, including 1 child, she said, adding that the prognosis for 18 people, including the child, is very grave. 6 people have now been detained in connection with the attack. Today, Mohamed Boulouel's lawyer told how his former client had showed no signs of radicalisation. There was no sign of religious radicalisation or dogmatism about Islam. He was a delinquent, a classic delinquent, he said. That view is supported by the lawyer representing Mohamed Boulouel's former wife.
You know, she is shocked. And it's difficult for me to explain what she feels, because a lot of people dead. And she thinks a lot to those people, because as she said to me, it's incredible for her. It's not a dream, it's worse.
Tomorrow, 3 days of official mourning will come to an end with a silence across France. Soon the flowers will be gone and the flags will fly high once more. But it will take some time for the sense of fear and bewilderment to leave this shaken country. Emma Murphy, ITV News, Nice.
Here, 5 people have been seriously injured in a helicopter crash in North Yorkshire tonight. The crash happened at the side of the runway at Brayton Airport near Selby. All 5 were taken to hospital, 2 by air ambulance. A plane carrying the Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson has had to make an emergency landing at Luton Airport after experiencing a technical fault. Mr. Johnson was on his way to Brussels in the RAF passenger jet to meet with his EU counterparts. And the Transport Secretary Chris Grayling has promised the new high-speed HS2 railway will go ahead, despite concerns the scheme will be scrapped by Theresa May's new government. Mr. Grayling said the line between London and Birmingham is needed to make journeys faster and ease overcrowding. The former Shadow Work and Pension Secretary Owen Smith has launched his bid to be the next Labour leader. Addressing supporters in Wales, he said the party needed more than just slogans and promised to invest £200 billion in Britain's infrastructure. Our political correspondent Paul Brand has more.
You might struggle to pick him out of a crowd, but Owen Smith's well known at home here in Pontypridd, and now he wants to be known across Britain too as the new leader of a Labour Party he says needs change.
We all know that we're not on the pitch. We're on the sidelines. We're not speaking for Britain. We're not even speaking, I fear, properly for a Labour Party as we've known it for the last century.
Sleeves rolled up, he got stuck into Jeremy Corbyn, praising his principles but calling for policies too, like investing billions in infrastructure and a second EU referendum, warning this party is close to a split.
It cannot happen. It will not happen. If I've got anything to do with it, never on my watch will this party split.
But he has split the vote in this contest.
I believe I can.
When Angela Eagle challenged Jeremy Corbyn on Monday, she'd hoped to be the only one.
I welcome Owen into the race, but I think that I have the life experience and the values, the time in politics to be the best person to lead the Labour Party.
Today, the third candidate found his usual support at a festival commemorating old struggles for workers' rights. He's now considering a legal fight against new party rules, which means some will have to pay £25 to vote for him.
Many people want to be involved in the Labour Party. I think we should recognise that many people are on very low wages, or unemployed, or on 0 hours contracts. £25 to them is a lot of money.
The contest continues here tomorrow as the candidates make their pitch to MPs and ask for nominations. Then sources from all sides tell me the two challengers may well be whittled down to just one. They both want to beat Jeremy Corbyn, but they know they may both miss their chance unless someone stands aside. Paul Brand, ITV News, Westminster.
And that is it from us. We're back with the latest ITV News tomorrow. But from all of us on the weekend team, good night.
Dramatic and chaotic scenes in Turkey. France comes to terms with a brutal terrorist attack. And more police officers shot dead in the States. British holidaymakers are now jetting off into total uncertainty. We're live from Istanbul, Nice and Louisiana with all the latest news tomorrow on Good Morning Britain.
SSE sponsors the ITV National Weather.
Hello, the outbreaks of rain will continue across Scotland overnight. Elsewhere dry, but there will be a lot of low cloud, mist and fog across parts of Wales and the southwest of England. And you can see with our temperatures, it is going to be an uncomfortable night for sleeping with lows of maybe 16, 17 degrees Celsius. So a warm start to Monday. Plenty of fine weather around, warm weather as well. The showers across Scotland will continue for a time, but even here it will start to improve through the afternoon and temperatures starting to catch up. But the hot weather is going to be a lot further south. Highs of 29 degrees expected across the southeast of England. That would make it the warmest day of the year so far. But take a look at Tuesday, even hotter, 32, maybe 33 degrees possible. Good night. See you tomorrow.
SSE sponsors the ITV National Weather.